Welcome to this, the first Cybersalon of the autumn seasons, first Cybersalon in Manchester, at least. My name's Lewis Sykes. I'm part of a group of people who coordinate Cybersalon here, and the idea is that I actually used to be involved in Cybersalon and coordinate Cybersalon in London between 2002 and 2007. This was just after I had completed my MA in Hypermedia Studies at Westminster University, where Cybersalon kind of grew out of the Hypermedia Research Centre. And it's a digital futures think tank, and we put on events, and they started out in the back rooms of smoky pubs and gradually turned into more substantial happenings, first at the ICA and then as artists in residence at the Science Museum's Dana Centre. And so Cybersalon is interested in the impact of technology on society, culture, and our day-to-day lives. And this is what this series is about. So we are going to be continuing to put on events probably once every 6 weeks or so. Future events are going to be looking at smart cities, sex, love, romance and technology, and various other themes which I'm sure will be of interest to you, and we'd love you to come and join us. So we will send on details to you, having booked through Eventbrite. I hope that's all right. Anyone who doesn't want to receive info, come and let me know afterwards. Today's event, at the Age of Human Enhancement, is going to be chaired by Ava Pascoe. Ava is one of the Cybersalon founders. Ava came to the UK in the mid-80s to study psychology and computer economics. But actually, don't know if you can join us. Hello. Can you find a seat?
You can grab this one.
Grab this, we'll find some more.
Thanks,
I've lost my thread now. Studied computer economics. Actually, she founded Cyberia, which is the very first internet cafe in the world, and the series, the chain of Cyberia cafes, which then grew up. And she's also a pioneer in e-commerce and online retail buying systems.
E-commerce, secure systems.
And is currently head of retail futures for the retail practice, which is part of the Arcadia.
It's an independent consultancy looking at digital futures in retail.
But Ava is also incredibly interested and active and proactive in that general community of people who involved in Cybersalon in London, who are looking to look critically at the way in which new technologies are shaping our day-to-day lives and the future. And so I'll pass you over to Ava.
Thank you very much. Very nice to see everybody. Thank you for the invites to Manchester for all of us. We all came from various parts, some more local than others, but we thought the topic was important enough to have this little gathering. So today we're going to look at the topic of human enhancement, very timely because the technology in that area is moving very fast. We have some startups here that are supporting the development of making us better humans, or better is what we're going to discuss today in terms of the value judgment of that. So we thought we'd air it up a bit and cover various aspects from practical to more philosophical. But just sort of to put it in the context, I started Cyberia in 1994, and I had a very good experience running Cyberia in Manchester as well. For those of you old enough to remember, it was between us and Tony Wilson, we were introducing the digital world to Cyber Manchester, as it was before. A fair amount of drugs being taken, and it was very enjoyable. Then somehow after that we wandered into more researchy environment and checking a little bit critically, a bit building, by moving this digital world forward as fast as we possibly can. So Cybersalon runs a number of different research strands. One of them is human enhancement. I've got personal interest in it because my grandfather was injured during the transitions out of Poland. We got kicked out by the Russians, and he got a very damaged hand in the journey. as a very young man, never really recovered from that, never had treatment and opportunities to address it. So I always wanted to follow on how that technology can support people who had misfortune of accidents and understand the identity change and what happens with the human enhancement provided technically in situations where it needs to happen. So just very quickly, I've joined the board of Help for Heroes a little while ago because there is a big sense of the end of the Afghan war, and Help for Heroes is obviously going to continue with over 70,000 people that have been affected, the soldiers that have been affected through the war. And I have a sense that the public might feel, oh well, the war is over, we're done, and we don't have to support it anymore. In fact, NHS and the army are not able to support the veterans, are not able to support the injuries, so we have to continue supporting them. So this is kind of my main charity, and we have an American partner who, oddly enough, was funded by George Bush, who caused most of the problem, but never mind. So just to recap, when Afghan war started, it was a particularly difficult war because it was a lot of mines, and the injuries from there were a lot more severe than from previous war. A lot of them were women who were in the forces, and they lost limbs at a very young age, which obviously caused issues. And only now we're beginning to understand what actually means to develop a process of supporting these people and supporting them in often extreme circumstances. We'll talk a little bit more about the issues with para sports and people needing to be seen as sportsmen even with injuries, while in fact the body which is gone through the amputation is actually affected very extremely through temperatures, high temperatures, low temperatures. It responds very differently. And Help for Heroes is doing a lot of work to understand how this affects the body and how the perception of the artificial limbs and artificial development affects the identities. So, this is my office, this is places I come across that every day. I just stopped even thinking about it, but the concept of human limb replacement is something which we're struggling with at the moment because we don't necessarily want to make it any more natural. We want to support people with what they want to be supported with, and I think Nigel is going to talk a little bit more of where he wants to take it. And the direction that particularly interests me is the fact that injuries and disabilities are very much contextualized in the family. When something like that happens, it happens to the family. When something like that occurs, it occurs not just to you, but to everybody around you. And negotiation of that change is something that is a very big part of where human enhancement needs to be. Because it's not just you with your injuries, it's everybody else you interact with closely, in the mid-range and in the far range. And we're only just now beginning to understand how children respond, because a lot of soldiers who had the accidents in Afghanistan were very young men, with very small children who are growing up with the notion of only knowing a dad who's got both legs artificial and can run faster than any other human, but the right things to negotiate. So we just thought we'll talk a little bit about that. So socialization of the prosthetics and socialization of the fixes or replacements or enhancements as we want to position. So just to start off with, Nigel is going to talk about his experiences. He came to that world from a slightly different scenario, and his experiences and reflections, I think, enlighten and definitely lead my thinking on what needs to be done. So over to Nigel.